Hello, hello, hello. I'm making a video with my baby dog on the rug in front of the balcony door, always looking out there. That is so interesting what's going on out there, the kitties. So, yesterday, this was really good, a very good day yesterday. The contractor came at the end of my video, my last video, and was talking to Paul in our garden, and I joined their conversation, and we talked for like, I don't know, 4 hours or something like this. I felt sorry for the contractor, I really did, having to put up with this, with our neediness and all of that. But this man has a lot to say, has so much to say, and I wanted to hear what he says. And Paul, always in his own brain train, cutting people off, he doesn't even realize that he is doing this. And that bothers me really bad. So I had to remind him that he cannot be cutting other people off. And when I do this, this always makes other people feel uncomfortable, of course, because then they're like in the midst of some kind of fight, and it's kind of awkward situation. I agree, but I have to remind Paul he cannot be cutting people off. But I would like to talk to the contractor some more without someone cutting him off. So that would be really nice. I could talk to this contractor. Talk to the contractor forever. Like forever and ever, day and night, permanently. Talking. That was so interesting, the conversation, because I'm always kind of careful when I meet someone new. I'm careful about revealing the kind of stuff that I believe in. So because that is usually, that pisses a lot of people off, and a lot of people looked at me funny, and some people were shocked, and they would walk away, and I mean, just the list goes on with reactions from people that were really startled about the kind of stuff that I believe. But I can see that the contractor is not startled about that. He has a bunch of mysterious things that he found out and learned and has seen himself. Okay, so I want to know more about this. This is ultra interesting for me. Ultra. I love metaphysics. I love the occult. I love the paranormal. Whether that is scientifically acknowledged or not, doesn't matter to me. Science is catching up. They have acknowledged the ether. I already talked about this. And the biggest scientist of all is Helena Petrovna Blavatsky in the 1800s. And her soul is the same soul as Jiddu Krishnamurti's and Gautama Buddha's. And they are way advanced. And also what the contractor said about Nikola Tesla. He read a biography about him. I absolutely have to read the biography about Nikola Tesla now. So this is really fascinating. This is completely occult, what happened there. So when he was young, Nikola Tesla, he has the same name as I have, but with a K instead of a C, and that is a male name in, I guess, somewhere in the former Eastern Bloc countries, Serbia or something, or Czechoslovakia. So that's where he was from, also, I think. And I have to read the biography. I'm guessing right now how he got in contact with Thomas Edison. He must have moved to the United States. I don't know. So, or his parents are from Czechoslovakia or something, or I don't know what did he say where they are from, Czech Republic, or somewhere out there. One of the Eastern European countries. And the people that are from the Eastern European countries, they are extremely intelligent. They're genius level, many of them. They're highly intelligent. And not only that, they are also extremely clairvoyant. That means they are attuned with one tentacle or two into the infinite cosmos, and they have high intuition level. So I believe this is also genetic, of course, so that's just what they have out there in the Eastern European countries. They have a lot of attunement and compassion and metaphysical abilities and occult abilities and high intelligence, for sure. Okay, so I always like meeting people from Eastern European countries, and I like the European Basset Hounds that come from Eastern European countries, and I like the European Great Danes that are coming from Eastern European countries. And our former dog, Kenny, had those bloodlines in him. So he was half Polish and half Texan, but both parents are from the Eastern European bloodlines of Great Danes, high pedigree. And he still was a rescue because they're not allowed to sell deaf dogs in Canada. So we got him for free and officially declared a rescue dog. But, really, to be honest, I was gonna pay the money for him. So, but then turned out 3 of their puppies were deaf. He and 2 of his sisters, and they are all white, all 3 of them, completely white. Albino with really, really light blue eyes. The best dog in the entire eternal universe. He too is the reincarnation of Gautama Buddha. Was the reincarnation of Gautama Buddha. So when he passed over onto the Orion Nebula, as I always say, then he merged back into the clouds, into the sky. I know all of this is making a lot of people mad, I'm sure. But, that's not my problem, really. I just love chatting about this kind of stuff. I could chat about this forever and ever and ever and ever. This is so fascinating. My dad has already been a collector of parapsychology books when I was born, and so I've always seen these books in his bookshelves. And then when I was 11, I finally decided, I need to read one of those books. So, and that's when I started reading his parapsychology books, and they were really spooky and creepy, but fascinating nevertheless, so fascinating that one time someone asked me when I was 13, I was somewhere invited with my mother. Someone asked me, so when you finish your school graduation, Abitur in Germany, which is equivalent to half year of college in the United States. So Abitur is we're 19 when we finish that. So he said, what do you want to do once you finish that? And I said, I want to study parapsychology. I didn't realize then that field by itself like this does not even exist at universities. So I thought it did. So I was already kind of way in the future was my wishful thinking. And it made my mother feel really ashamed when I said that. But that's not my problem. It used to be my problem that my mother was humiliating me and all of this, but it's not my problem anymore. I moved on. I really did. So I am growing and expanding and healing on my healing journey, and I wish them the best, but I don't hang out with people anymore who are stagnators and mean. So no, I have better things to do in my life. Okay, so we need to make the best out of our lives, and not dabble with the wrong people. And I haven't mastered that completely yet. I'm still living here. But, there's still light years between Paul and the haters, so obviously, yeah. And it's good, it is okay. It's not perfect, but it is okay. I keep meditating over this problem of, I need to move out and I don't know what to do. And then I always come back to realize sometimes we are at a specific threshold situation, and that can linger for a while, okay? What we have to do is we can't force ourselves out of something or force anything. Nothing can ever be forced, okay? That is a very important message for the whole world. Nothing can be forced or coerced. I always have to remind Paul also in this regard, because he tends to force things. And I know now for sure, so when something isn't very easy to open, or I can't just pry it open or hammer it open, I have to figure out how that works first. Why is the lid closed? There's paint stuck in between, acrylic paint or something. And so I have to use whatever. I have to use some kind of other tool to open it in a more effective, powerful way without forcing it. And just one example, working with another living being, an animal or human, we can't use force, okay? We can't pry someone open. I can't expect someone who is in fear to immediately loosen up and open up and be there and be receptive and all of this. I realize that now fully. When I have negative emotions, I have to acknowledge that, and I have to be just as patient with myself, of course, and I have to let myself feel that in that moment without acting it out on other people. Very, very, very important. I keep on saying this because this is so important that I have to talk about this in every one of my videos. Very, very important. Whatever you feel, it's okay. Feel it on the couch. Don't force yourself to feel any differently than you are right now in this moment. Even if you want to please your partner or whatever, you have to say to your partner, right now I'm angry, right now I'm jealous, right now I feel ugly, right now I'm not in the mood, right now I just want to meditate. Okay, so you don't have to force yourself. Very, very important. Very, very, very important in regards to any kind of situation and emotion. Okay, very important that we acknowledge how we feel, and we have to allow ourselves to feel this without acting it out on other living beings, without acting it out on any being, animal or human. Okay, cannot. Or environment. I met a woman who that was so abhorrent. I liked her initially. She was an activist for the community and she did some good work, but then her husband and her broke up, and she was real bitter about that because she caught him with a woman on the internet. And then what does she do? She takes dishes, old dishes, goes into the redwood forest. We're not far from the redwood forest here. And she hikes into the redwood forest and then uses one of the large redwood trees as a scapegoat and slams these porcelain dishes against that poor redwood tree. That's a living being, okay? And breaks these dishes, and then they fall off and end up at the root of the tree. And I'm sure she left everything there also. I'm positive on that. And then hikes back and and feels refreshed or something. Oh boy, this is awful. I mean, that's one of the milder situations. I've heard much worse, and I'm not gonna talk about that now. I heard all kinds of horrific things that people do. But I told her in that conversation that that's not good to. This is obviously not good to slam dishes onto a tree. Okay? When they feel anger, jealousy, and they feel abandoned and whatever, whoever feels that way, don't let it out on other beings, not even trees and plants and environment and so on. Don't let it out on anything. Okay, so the only thing that is there for you in this situation, if you have to use your fists, okay, and hammer down on something, use your pillow, okay, but please take all your baby animals and children, leave them outside of your bedroom. door, okay, you have to be alone in your bedroom and close that door. You have to make sure the other beings are they're being monitored and taken care of and loved and nurtured. Okay, so you close that door, you're alone in your bedroom, you go onto your mattress, and then you can let it out on the pillow. I always apologize afterwards. There's still consciousness. However, it is it's not a sentient consciousness, it is still material, okay? I'm a panpsychist. I believe that everything has a form of consciousness. Every single matter accumulation. This couch here too, my artwork, for sure my artwork is vibrating with energy. Everything, okay? So I apologize to the pillow, and then the pillow says to me, "It's okay." That's my job. Okay, and I say thank you for that. That's really good. But it's better to never even get into that state where you're in this total anger and rage and all of this. Better not. Thich Nhat Hanh talked about this in his books. He said it's better not to get into that state. And when you're in that state, it's better to meditate on it and just sit with that feeling and do nothing. Just sit with it. And meditation, that's really, really, really important. Sit with it. Only in absolute emergencies, go into your room alone and use the pillow for that as a punching bag. Okay, so I don't even recommend to use punching bags like for boxing training or something like this. We had one of those in the psychotherapy place cellar of Anneliese back in Germany, in this beautiful old house that belonged to the royal court that her husband was granted to live in for the rest of his life because he was a very high-ranking politician. And in the basement, that house, that is full of energy. That house was built like in I would say during the Renaissance, somewhere around 1600. And in that basement, that was a souterrain basement with half windows and half into the ground. So when we were standing in that basement, we could still look out of the window and see people's feet walking by. And she had all kinds of things in that basement: therapy room for children, a swing, a puppet theater. And by the way, she's the one that inspired me to get these hand puppets. I've always been fascinated with puppets, and she was inspired by another psychologist. I forgot the name now. That's been a while now, a couple of years when I researched him. A really amazing guy who inspired her was the giraffe and the wolf puppet, and I preferred the crocodile, so I got the giraffe and the crocodile. I looked at different hand puppets on the internet, and those were my favorites, and they are amazing. But I can't use them anymore because the baby dog goes nuts over those. He will come over and he will climb over my head and try to snap these hand puppets out of my hand. He gets all excited. So now I can't use the hand puppets anymore. But I already made many videos with them, and that was very cool. And they were kind of like, I was talking and talking. I wasn't even using the hand puppets. They were just sitting there. So in the therapy setting, the hand puppets have a very dedicated role. So they talk to each other, they start a conversation. And this conversation is a metaphor for all kinds of domestic disputes and whatever kind of problems people have with each other. And so these hand puppets then invite people to share their personal experiences with conversations. And so this psychologist, he goes all over the world. He did go all over the world with these hand puppets, and he even helped people in Palestine and the Middle East. Really, really amazing, man. And they were able to solve their conflicts with those hand puppets. Really incredible. So Annalise got inspired by him, and always she always had these puppets, but then she particularly got herself also a giraffe. But I was already living in the United States when she got the giraffe, and she was already back in Germany. And then she told me sometimes some anecdotes of her going into one of those city trains with the giraffe hand puppet. And Annalise was cool, she was she would entertain and do psychotherapy on an entire train. I'm not kidding. She'd start to talk. The giraffe would start to talk to someone, and I can just imagine how uncomfortable these people must have felt. But that would always initiate some extremely interesting conversation between the people that don't even know each other. So hilarious, incredibly funny. So I always sway from one subject to another. I was in Annalise's place cellar in her therapy when I was 5, from 5 to 8. And she wrote a book called Betty, Protocol of a Child Therapy. And that book's still in print in Germany, no longer in print in the United States. But you can buy a copy. They are all over the place, like in antique bookstores and stuff like this. Or, like, I don't know, old used bookstores. Vintage, I don't know if it's already vintage. Probably not. So yeah, that book came out in the 70s, like somewhere around the mid 70s in Germany, the first German version, and then it got translated all over the whole world. Even the Sai Baba recommended that book. That's really something, that the Sai Baba recommended to people to read Annalise's book. Really cool. Annalise helped me a lot in the therapy, and I think things would be much different if I did not have this just like 2.5 or whatever years of child play therapy with Annalise. I don't know what would have happened. I could have easily taken the wrong path and been with the wrong people in the wrong places, and not been able to see through the situation. Probably could have happened, if I did not have that therapy as a child. And she did tremendous work with me. She discovered the primal scream through me, actually, because I was screaming my head off in that therapy. And she asked her professor, and where she studied, and he said, "That's a primal scream. You need to read the book by Dr. Arthur Janov. the Primal Scream that had also just come out. Just like, I don't know when that book came out, somewhere just around that time, just like a year or two before she started this therapy process with me. All of this tied in with each other. Okay, it's all of these things are meant to come together. It's very, very important. It's very important. I was meant to also go to LA and do primal therapy for 3 years. And then we followed up. Friends were helping each other with that, and many people had primal rooms. My friend Birgit in Germany had a primal room, and we would meet there on a regular basis. When I went back to Germany, we sat for each other as so-called body therapists, sort of not therapists, but like just friends who listen to each other, and the other person knows how to go through, kind of like in a meditation, So, and I do this now on my own, sitting on the couch. I do this quietly in my head. And I also talk about this in the videos, of course. I can't talk to Paul about this at all. So I used to talk to Birgit on the phone, but Birgit died. It's infinitely sad. So, yeah, Birgit and I, we were very, very, very helpful for each other, very, very dear friends. But I moved back to California and she stayed in Germany. We met each other in LA at the Primal Training and Treatment Center from Dr. Arthur Janov. So Birgit is also originally from Germany, and she wanted to go back because her daughters had kids and she wanted to be with her grandchildren, and I understand, but it was not the right thing for her to do. It was definitely not the right thing for her to do. It made her unhappy. But she forced herself. There was this element of force again, that I was talking about. She forced herself to be there because she felt guilt over her daughters, because she left her daughters when they were teenagers. She waited until they were teenagers to leave them and go to LA to do primal therapy. She didn't want to leave them when they were still too young. But she still felt terrible remorse for leaving them with the father when they were only teenagers, I don't know, 13 or 14 or something. And so she wanted to go back. She wanted to be with them. She wanted to be there for their children. She wanted to be a good grandmother. I understand all of these feelings, of course, but that was not good for her at all. She was not happy. And she always was mistreated by boyfriends. And then she married a guy and he mistreated her, and it's all terrible. And then she got sick from that. That was too much for her immune system. But we talked on the phone on a regular basis, and so we were still giving each other some comfort and stuff. But that last husband, no. That guy was poison for her, absolute poison. I could already tell just by the way he would pick up the phone and would control her life and all of that. He wouldn't even let her talk for a very long time. He would be standing behind her like with a whip, sort of, and telling her that she has to hang up now because that costs too much. Back then, that we still had to pay for phone and stuff like this. So if Birgit and I, if we had Skype already at that time, which we didn't. Then it would have been so much better. But it is what it is. So it's very important to sit on the couch and acknowledge what you feel. Whatever you feel, it's all okay. It's all okay. Whatever you feel, even if you feel something that you think you're not supposed to feel. Okay? If maybe you desire something that you think you're not supposed to desire. Okay? There could be all kinds of situations like this. Like, for example, let's take whatever, some religious person, a Quaker or something. And he sits on the couch. He wouldn't even listen to me in the first place, okay, because of his religion. That would go against his religion. But if he, sits on the couch, and he's a Quaker, and he's supposed to be humble, and they need to make their lives work humbly, or like, you can also, the same with those Amish people or whatever, they're supposed to be humble, or a Hindu supposed to be humble and not yearn after something ritzy, but he saw a Ferrari somewhere and now he wants it, and he sits there and he feels like he needs to not want the Ferrari. So what I'm trying to say is, don't force yourself to not want the Ferrari. Okay, whatever you want. If it's peaceful, I don't know how peaceful a Ferrari is, right? A Tesla is a lot better for the environment. So maybe you can switch your desire to a Tesla race car and think about how that will be better for the environment, and the car is still amazing and elegant and gorgeous, all of that. So the car is highly intelligent, not much more intelligent than the Ferrari is, or the Tesla is much more intelligent than Ferrari and Camaro, Stingray, and whatever these sports cars are called. Okay. So you can talk to him inside of the car, and he has an AI brain in there, really amazing. He's already developed an AGI, but he's not allowed to implement that. The government, the corporate agenda, they are terrified of that. Oh gosh, they are so terrified of that. And that brings me back to what the contractor said about Nikola Tesla. That when Nikola Tesla was young, there was a light beam that went through his brain and downloaded all of that information that he learned, kind of like something that you would learn through a Neuralink, but much more advanced. So that's obviously something from a more advanced culture of aliens, I would think, that they sent this light beam down. And who knows, they may already all be living in some kind of singularity, those aliens. Who knows? So they have become light and energy. They're no longer in a physical body, maybe. So they saw him as being great and receptive for this, and they downloaded it. And obviously he's also naturally a genius, okay, and they downloaded that information into him because they knew that he is able to put this into reality. what they downloaded. I didn't know that this was downloaded into him. This is the first time I heard this. This is highly interesting, highly fascinating, absolutely amazing. So obviously, Elon Musk is the reincarnation of Nikola Tesla. So I can feel it very strongly. And what Nikola Tesla offered to the world was clean and free energy. He created an energy. I watched this already on YouTube a couple of years ago. He created an energy loop that would draw energy from the infinite cosmos, which has infinite energy. There's infinite energy in space. Okay, so because it keeps on going indefinitely. And the sun obviously has incredible amount of energy, okay, and heat. So we have to use the sun. It's very important that we use the sun and utilize the sun's energy to create free and safe and environmentally friendly energy solutions for this whole planet. So, but Nikola Tesla drew energy from space, and he did this in the most amazing ways that drew to him other geniuses that wanted to know more about it, as like Thomas Edison. But Thomas Edison obviously was part of the corporate agenda. The corporate agenda, this has been going on already for a very long time. Yeah. So that is what the Illuminati is all about. So, like genius congregations, sort of. But genius congregations where they tend to be serving each other, kind of like the Club of Rome or the Rotary Club. They're similar to the Illuminati, but not to that degree, of course. I know people personally. I know Annalise is my child therapist. Her husband, Eduard, was a very high-ranking member of the Club of Rome. And yeah, well, if I show him, then I'll show you too. So, and then I have to delete the entire video, so I'm not gonna do it. So, and my dad is a member of the Rotary Club in Germany. The Rotary Club is a congregation of people with very high-ranking professions. So, but not geniuses as with the Illuminati. So, and what the reason why they congregate is because if they can put all of their heads together, they can create something even more powerful. Okay, but then most of these people don't have the wellness of the world in mind. Okay, they have profit maximization and they have serving them vested interest in mind, just as it is with politics, so worldwide. Okay. That is the corporate agenda. And the contractor talked about this as well, and I was very amazed at how much knowledge he has. Okay, a lot of knowledge. 4444. Thank you. The animal angels are saying, yes, that's the truth. He has a lot of knowledge, and I would like to talk to him and learn more about it. So, and I don't know. I don't know if we get to see him again. I don't know what's gonna happen with the house. I don't know. He said he has a friend who might buy the house, so that would save us at least a year of work. So if we could just sell the house as is to someone. And Paul said he would knock $100,000 off because of the deck falling off. So, and his friend is handy and he knows how to fix all of that. So now that would be really the total solution for this situation that we are in. It's funny how Paul farts and burps when I'm making a video. I don't know. I personally would feel kind of awkward. If someone's making a video, I would kind of like go to the other end of the house or into the garden, and I'll be burping and farting there. But I guess Paul doesn't have a problem with that. So. But anyway, so yeah. I am absolutely, totally fascinated with that movie Another Earth. I'm going to watch I'm going to watch for sure. So we're coming back tomorrow. I've been already wanting to come. We've been wanting to come back the next day, and then we keep on procrastinating it because we're busy with so many other things as well. So yes, the baby dog is feeling very good now. Yes, oh yes, he is feeling very, very good. He is lying down halfway on his back and with the mouth hanging down. So yeah, this movie seems to be very, very, very interesting. Just the thought of another Earth appearing in the sky, illuminated by the sun. I saw. I don't know whether the moon is new or whether the moon is getting shadowed by the Earth more and more. So I never keep up with these kind of things, but I saw the moon as a sliver in the sky while it was still daylight, and that just looks so good. That just looks so eerie and amazing. And then I think about that space station Elysium in the sky, eerie, and I think about that movie Oxygen with that space rocket that scattered apart through a collision with a meteorite. And then all of these pieces out there in the sky, but you wouldn't be able to see that. They're too far away. But that's eerie. And then another Earth appearing in the sky, illuminated by the sun, and like, what the heck is going on here? An identical Earth. But obviously, that's what I personally believe. Even if it appears identical, there'll still be a variation. That's still some kind of variation of the, whatever you want to call the Earth, the original, right? They will call themselves the original. People always see everything through a me center, like human centrism, linearity, me center, dualism. Me the center, or the Earth the center, our Earth the center, and that's a copy. Yeah, so that's how the human brain tends to think like that. But if there is another Earth appearing in the sky, and this is a collision of, not complete collision, but a meeting, let's put it that way, a meeting of two planets that are coming from each from another universe, from a parallel universe, that somehow were hurled together, where they're in traveling distance from each other. The same distance from here to the moon, right? You can get there in 1 week with a space rocket. So in that film, what happened is that she finally made friends again with that guy that told her to get out of her house. They got back together, and she convinced him of taking her ticket that she got. She got the ticket to go to the other Earth. She got that ticket through a contest, and that was a writing contest. People were supposed to write some kind of essay on why they should be allowed to go to the other Earth. So they could only send so many people there. But they wanted to give everyone an equal chance, so they did this writing contest. And she won that contest because she told about that story of what happened. She saw the Earth, and then she had that car crash and killed these people, and she feels infinite remorse over that. And so she convinced him to go up there instead of her, because she wanted him to, maybe there's a chance, just maybe there's a chance that this collision didn't happen in the parallel universe. So maybe his wife is still there and his children, and maybe she gave birth now. She was highly pregnant, like, I don't know, 8.5 months pregnant when that collision happened. So she gave birth, and maybe beautiful baby girl who was now 10 years old or something, so on that other Earth. And so he would go there, and maybe he would then. There's all kinds of scenarios that can happen then, right? He could go there, and maybe they had a car crash, and his parallel clone, his parallel existence, himself in the other parallel universe, maybe he died in that car crash, and the other one survived, or something else happened to him, where he's no longer there. So he can go there now, and they're a family unit again, happy. Okay, incredible. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And that girl, although she was madly in love with him, and they had a romantic relationship, she wanted him to be happy. And I can so much relate to that. I can relate to this 100%. She wanted him, she loves him. And that's what real love is, not just, he's mine, and, I own him now, and I'm going to yank him away from another woman or something. That's not love. That's not love. I will never take a man away from a woman. Never. I will never do that. So, no matter how attracted I am, I will not do this. Okay? This is my promise to you. And this woman, seeing this opportunity that he had now to go there and see what's going on with his family. Are they still there? Is his parallel person no longer there? Is the parallel person still there? Now she has 2 husbands, right? So if that's the case, he might just be making peace with this situation, and then decide to come back to Earth and marry the girl. with the car accident. So, and so I don't know exactly. They only showed a couple of those clips. They didn't show the entire film. I don't know what. I don't know if they showed what happened to him at the other Earth, but. And the girl didn't go, so the guy went to see his family. The girl didn't go, she stayed. But then, instead of her going, her parallel existence on the other Earth got the ticket there also, so the same lottery and everything, and came to this Earth. And so that was the end of the film. Suddenly, that girl went through this trouble of coming with a space rocket, coming to this Earth, finding her, finding her house, and standing there with her suitcase in front of the garage. And she's coming home, and there she is, her parallel, standing right in front of her. And so, I don't know, even if I'm introduced to this through scientists, and scientists say, yeah, this is happening, and it's safe, and yes, this is going on, and there are parallels of all of us, and I would still get a heart attack if I saw myself standing there by the garage with the suitcase. And the other one would get a heart attack. We would both have a heart attack and die right there on the spot. We would miss the chance of talking to each other because we're so absolutely so terrified that we get a heart attack. I don't know. Maybe not. But I'll definitely sink down to the ground. That's for sure. My knees would completely give out and I would just wobble down, plop down onto my butt, and I would be dizzy and I'd be passing out. So that's what would happen for sure. But the video is very long. I have to go. Peace and love for all living beings in the infinite cosmos.